about fears. Let's talk about love. Yeah, I got fears, but I ain't got no love.
So I wanted to just jump on here quick today. I got news today that my colleague, and I would consider him a friend for sure, Dr. Cyril Wecht, passed away today at age 93. Now, if you remember, just 3 short weeks ago, I did a video like this for another famous forensic pathologist whom I was gracious and humbled enough to call a friend, um, Dr. Warner Spitz. And humbled and graciousness shouldn't even be the words I'm looking for. It should be I was fortunate enough to call both these men colleagues and friends. Now, with Cyril, a completely different animal than Dr. Warner Spitz. Um, Both equally, influential to me when I first was getting into this true crime genre and being a detective and starting the cold case unit as I did. Those were two that I had reached out to. And I don't know if it's just because of their age at the time. I mean, this was probably a decade ago, that they were so gracious and so warm to me. Both equally. Now, one thing I will say about Cyril Wecht is that man was one of the kindest people in this profession that I ever met. I remember reaching out to him and him calling me on the telephone, and we were discussing court procedures. You know, what happens when we look at a case together and we present it to law enforcement and there's an arrest because of what we found? How is that going to be handled within the organization? He brought up such great points to me, but he was always there whenever I needed something. I recall, well, it must have been 2018. I had a conference in Albany, New York. And it was one of those conferences where, listen, I'm going to invite who I want to hear speak this time. Okay? And that's the way it's going to be. And Dr. Wecht was one of them. And I'd, of course, heard him speak plenty of other times. But there was something about him. You know, people say about charisma, you know, whether you have it, you don't have it. To me, he had that. He had that it factor that drew me in to whatever he was talking about. And I wanted, my audience to see that. And this is where this, I don't want to say famous photograph, but well-known photograph of me and him took place at that conference after he was done speaking. We sat down and we were discussing some things, and then we went to lunch together. I'm sitting here thinking, I recall one time speaking at his conference at Duquesne University. It was my very first. It was my first public speaking as a detective. Meaning, yes, I'd gone to high schools and spoke. I've gone and gave drug talks and stuff like that. But this was like in front of a packed house with, other colleagues and professionals. And I was very nervous. And remember him pulling me aside saying, it was going to be okay. And afterwards, we had a meeting because he had appointed me to the advisory board of Duquesne University of the Cyril Wecht Institute of Forensic Science. Something happened. I think I Ubered there or something from the hotel, but I didn't have a ride back. And he gave me a ride, him and Dr. Henry Lee. And I just remember the surrealness of being in that vehicle, thinking, damn, here I am, just 10 years ago, I'm reading books written by these guys, and I was like, I always want to be like them and work on these type of cases. And here I'm in a vehicle, and Cyril Wecht, who was probably 83 at the time, driving me home in this crazy Pittsburgh traffic, just going in and out. I was white-knuckled, scared to death, holding on. And they were just joking about the whole time. It was so surreal to me. And I vividly recall that. Him making a video for me one time. I was trying to promote my organization. I simply asked him, and I asked a lot of people, quote unquote famous people that were in my organization, to make a video, an advertisement. He was the only one who was famous at the time who's absolutely, and he did it for me and sent it to me. I mean, the guy was just so nice to me, just like Warner Spitz. And those two butted heads, and I remember that vividly too. I remember drinking at a bar with Dr. Warner Spitz and talking about Cyril, and him telling me that he didn't get along with Cyril because Cyril called him a German dog. Insane, and now they're both gone. And I also recall thinking to myself, and I might even spoke with somebody about this at the time, they're the old guard. They're the true pioneers. And they're coming to the end. And then new people are going to have to step up. And I remember having that conversation with several people as well. And and the time has come within the past 3 weeks that they're both legends. And that's what they are. They're legends. I adore both of them. I looked up to both of them, and I always will. The kindness of both of them. But, I told you the story about Warner Spitz signing that big forensic pathologist book for me and saying, this is just for you. Cyril did the same thing. One day I was sitting at the office in the district attorney's office where I worked and got a package. And it was a book from crime scene to courtroom, I think it was, from Dr. Cyril Wecht. I didn't ask for it. He just sent it. Just like after he spoke at my last conference, he was getting older. He had to have been 85, 86. He took a plane there. He was grumpy. Not towards me. Never towards me. Never. But people at the hotel, they didn't have his room ready and stuff. And he wasn't having it. And that's what I admired about him. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind. But after, we talked and that picture was taken, and I had signed him a chaperone. Because I didn't want him driving. I assigned him a student from one of the universities there to take him wherever he needed to go. And when he got home, I sent him a big basket of, I don't even know what it was, meats and cheeses, I believe. I mean, when people show me that level of respect, I'll show them 2 times more. And that's how he was. Some of his findings controversial, but you can say that about anybody. I said that 3 weeks ago about Dr. Warner Spitz, right? But you don't waver. Yeah, I remember somebody saying to me, oh, he did this stupid alien autopsy thing. So what is for show? Not like he believed in that. You know, I don't know what he believed in regards to aliens. But I know he knows he wasn't doing autopsies on aliens. Okay. He was a celebrity, you know, as just because, you know, let's say you are at the top of the field in your perspective field. Sometimes you will become a celebrity. You know, I feel that way sometimes. You know, I go to this book signing and for 2 hours I'm signing straight, no breaks. There was that many people there and I just couldn't believe it. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to know me. You know, people in that field certainly do. We were at Barnes and Noble's this weekend at the true crime section. My daughter pulled out a book and said, "You're in here." You know, and she's like, "How many other dads or kids can say that their dads are in here?" It was just, it's funny. It's funny how celebrity and that stuff works. But make no mistake, just because he's a celebrity, and he was, doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's talking about. He was the best in his field, and that's why he became a celebrity. That's how that happens. You just don't become a celebrity. You got to know what you're talking about. And he did. He certainly believed in a conspiracy theory on JFK. And I can't disagree with him, and I can't agree with him. I haven't looked into it enough, like he certainly did. Remember him dropping F-bombs all the time during the conference. Some people got offended by that. That was him. And he didn't care. That's what I admire about the guy. He just said what he wanted to say. Remember being at a conference and him disagreeing with Mark Perlin, I believe it was, a DNA guy, and them disagreeing about a case. But he doesn't shun the guy. He doesn't say, he just says, "Hey, we disagree. I think it's this way." You think there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way it should be. Okay? People will always disagree with you. But if you firmly believe that in what you're saying, you stand your ground, and you just, this is the reasons why. I do that all the time, right? Look how many people didn't like Cyril Wecht. Same amount of people don't like me. That's the way it works. That's the way life works. Not everybody's going to like you. But you shouldn't say, well, I should cower down because of this, because these people aren't going to like me, and I'm not going to get as many views or likes. Bullshit. Be yourself. Be true. That's the only way to live life. Don't cater to other people. Be kind, of course. You always treat others the way you wish to be treated. But you don't change your philosophy, you know. And again, that's what I admired about him. So many. I'm sitting here and I'm drawing blanks now. But so many great things. I just admired this guy so much. He was just always so kind to me. I can't emphasize that enough. Like anytime I needed something. "Hey, Cyril, can you look at this?" Yep, email it to my assistant or email it to here and they'll get it to me. And then it would come back. Just anything I needed. The guy never said no to me. I'm not asking him for a Corvette, you know, but I'm talking about, "Hey, can you look at this case? Can you come speak at this conference for me?" Yeah, he gets paid thousands of dollars to go speak at conferences. Never charged me anything. Never asked for anything. Just listen, I don't get too broken up about people that die because I understand it's life. It's the way it is. You live your life and you die. This guy lived 93 years. I mean, that's a long life to live. And he's blessed to have that amount of time here on earth. And I'm saddened by it. But he left this in his field a much better place. It's just sad we lost both of them. Forensic pathologists who are true pioneers within a span of 3 weeks. I mean, they helped me so much getting started. And loyalty is so important to me. And when people treat me good and are loyal to me, they get that back tenfold. And I would do anything for Cyril Wecht. You know, he called me in the middle of the night and said, I need you to speak at 3 a.m. down here. I would be there in a heartbeat. That's how much respect I have for that man. So, that being said, we lost another great one. But I appreciate his time here with us and what he has taught us and what he did for me personally and professionally in this field. I will never forget Cyril Wecht. His son, that I knew the most, Ben. My condolences out. And of course, he had, I believe, 2 other sons and a daughter. All professional people. All have made good in life. That's the essence of a man right there. So, Dr. Wecht, thank you for everything that you've done for me, the field of forensic pathology and true crime in general. You will be sorely missed, and I will miss you without a doubt. Thank you for being a part of my life. And as I go forward in life, you will always be an inspiration to me. So, with that said, thanks for tuning in and watching. Mains out.